Hey everybody, Josh RV Nerd here with Bish's RV with something a little different today. We happen to have a Winnebago 2306 in the background, but it's not going to be specifically about this RV. Today, actually, I wanted to do a full deep dive into the Winnebago FLX edition, the FLX Package, because there's the Winnebago Micro Minnie, and then there's these FLX models, the FLX series. And it's kind of what is often referred in the RV industry as their max solar package, but I wanted to go through and kind of show you all the different pieces, parts, components that differ from when you go from a normal Micro Minnie up to a FLX edition and what they represent for you so that you have a better and more educated idea of what you're getting for this. We're also going to talk a little bit about, what it's capable of doing compared to the standard package and what some realistic real-world expectations might be for something like this, because there's way too much of this stuff like,
or you can hide from the government in the desert with this thing forever.
well, I'm not one of those guys. I try to be a little more realistic. I've been accused of being a pessimist. I like to think of myself as a realist. And to help us really navigate these waters, I've recruited the help of a special guest today.
Hi everybody, I'm Grant Smith with Winnebago Towables. I am one of the product managers here, and we wanted to walk you through the differences in our solar package on a Micro Minnie FLX versus our traditional Micro Minnie build. So on a normal Micro Minnie, it will come with one 200-watt solar panel and a PWM charge controller. With the FLX package, we essentially double your solar capacity with two 200-watt panels for 400 watts of total solar panel coverage, and the charge control monitor will go from a PWM to an MPPT charge control.
So right there from the base Micro Minnie moving up to the FLX edition, you've already doubled the amount of solar packages. But if you're not familiar with all the jargon, PWM, MPPT, XYZ, Elemental P, it can be a bit of a head spin for sure. Basically what's happening is they're putting in a more efficient smart controller, and what it also does is it captures basically otherwise lost lightning coming in from the sun to get pushed down into those batteries. So you're doing more than just doubling the solar panel. You're actually, in terms of efficiency, doing double plus. So you're capturing far more sunlight, and you're doing it far more efficiently to really pump a lot of juice into the batteries. But I think Grant can attest that it's kind of worthless talking about solar if we don't also talk about the batteries.
Absolutely. So we're getting ready to look into the front pass-through compartment of the Micro Minnie FLX. And what you're going to find in here is a 320 amp hour lithium ion battery. This battery is from Lithionics. It's a US made battery, and we've actually had such good luck and such good success with this battery that Winnebago recently acquired this company. So that's going to help us keep costs down. It helps us keep quality control for the batteries in-house. You're gonna have a few switches down here. So this button right here is actually gonna be your main power button for your battery. And when it's flashing slowly like this, that means that actually the battery is receiving charge currently from the solar panels on the roof. We are not plugged in on this trailer at all whatsoever right now. You also have a main disconnect. This disconnect is gonna engage if your battery ever gets too low. So this battery actually views 10% as 0%. And it's gonna shut itself off when the power drops below 10% so the battery does not damage itself. A couple of the unique features that the battery has is it does self-heat. So lithium batteries do not like to charge in the cold. So if it's below 40 degrees, this battery will self-heat and then be able to accept a charge. It also does come with a $300,000 insurance policy, so that's going to cover the trailer, the tow vehicle, and anything else lost if there would be an issue. However, being a UL listed battery, it is totally safe to keep in the pass-through storage of the unit. It does not off gas. Lithium batteries they're much safer than a traditional, wet cell or lead acid type of battery.
So right there, you're going from no factory battery to a 320 amp hour factory battery. Now, make sure if you're shopping around, because I get that not everybody watching this is going to be buying for Bish's RV. Make sure if you're shopping around, the place doesn't also try to charge you for a battery that's literally already included into the RV right here. But trying to be fair, you see where this little piece of trim is right here and how there's like this extra 6-inch panel? You do lose about 6 inches of your pass-through going to the FLX package, but again, it's because you have that gigantic battery included with it right there. And something Grant mentioned, I don't know if you picked up on that, but Lithionics is based in Sarasota, Florida. They are a U.S. based company. It's a U.S. made product, and that is something that I think is at least worth mentioning. Now, in case any of you are really wondering about our fashion choices today, Winnebago, we're actually at their campus today. They are incredibly safety focused, and anytime you're walking around out in their yard, you have to wear a high visibility vest. But now that we're in here, I guess we can strip. No, that sounded, no.
So here we are inside the Micro Minnie Flex, and right when we come through the main entrance door, you're going to have your area of control panels here. So we're going to specifically talk about the Xantrex control panel, and that is the control panel for your inverter. The inverter that comes in a Flex standard is 3,000 watts, which is massive. That will run everything in this entire unit, and that's kind of what makes the Micro Minnie Flex unique compared to some other products in the marketplace. The inverter isn't just running a select few outlets, maybe a couple by your bed or in the kitchen. Every appliance, every outlet, every USB port in a Micro Minnie Flex runs through the inverter. That would include things like your microwave, your air conditioner, pretty much everything in this floor plan except for the TV.
Quick little clarification here, just so you know, what Grant said was correct. Like the TV doesn't operate off 12 volt, but with the Flex package, even the household outlets that power the TV could be powered by the inverter. But I guess in a way it kind of feels like if we're going with an untethered kind of package, would a 12 volt TV make sense? I guess leave a comment. Let me know if you think the Flex package should include something like that. Now, one of the other major things that goes along with this, people want to know, like, okay, what can I do with the air conditioner? And first, we need to learn a little bit about the air conditioner. They swap from like a traditional Dometic AC to a TRUMA Aventa Air. And it's the same kind of BTUs. It's the same kind of power, but it is massively more power efficient and has some other really clutch functions that define the two differently. So first of all, your standard Micro Minnie air conditioner, it's going to pull 13, 14 amps, something like that. And the startup spike when that thing kicks in, it's a chunk of juice real hard. That's why you typically need park power or a generator. These TRUMA Aventa Airs, not technically, but basically have like a soft start essentially integrated into them. Their startup spike is much, much lower and softer. And when they're running, they're only pulling about 9.4 amps or something like that. So just the air conditioner itself uses far, far less power. And again, that 3,000 watt inverter can turn this on. How long can it run? We're going to touch on that in a little bit here in the video. A couple other details on this though. One of the other major things here is if you're going to go cold camping, something people don't realize is that in the summertime, your air conditioner basically is a dehumidifier. But when you're cold camping, you lose that because you're not running the air conditioner. You get condensation, you get foggy windows, and you really should be running a dehumidifier. But that's one of the other awesome qualities of this. If you're going to cold camp, this Flex package is amazing because you can still engage a strictly dehumidification mode on this. Again, to keep your windows from fogging up, to keep the walls from feeling wet and clammy, to keep your blankets from feeling moist and gross.
So in addition to the TRUMA Aventa air conditioner, we've also implemented the TRUMA VARIOHEAT furnace and the AQUAGO water heater into the Flex package. So touching on the furnace, you got your outlet right here. It's very small, minimalistic, but it is a unique furnace for the RV space. So your traditional RV furnace would be, some complaints I hear from customers on a regular basis is, I set my trailer at 70 degrees and my furnace will take it from 70 up to 74. Then it shuts off and lets it get down to 65 before it turns on again. It doesn't do a very good job at maintaining temperature. It's just high or it's low. The VARIOHEAT furnace has 3 different BTU output modes, and it will maintain temperature much better than the traditional RV furnace. So if I set my thermostat at 70 degrees, it's going to keep it at 70 degrees, and it'll just constantly adjust between those BTU outputs as it needs to do so. Another nice thing with all 3 of those appliances being TRUMA, we have one centralized control panel that will control our air conditioner, it controls our furnace, and our water heater temperature. So it's pretty nice to be able to go into just one panel to control all 3 of those appliances.
Now, a couple cool things on the upgraded water heater here, because again, from the standard Micro Minnie to the Flex edition, that does change. It all kind of, it's like the Lord of the Rings, the one panel to rule them all. So all your, like your heating, your water heater, your fans, whatever is blinking is what you're selecting. So we want to select over to water heater, click the little button, and you got 3 modes. You have off, you have eco, and you have comfort. What's the difference here? Eco won't really heat the water. It'll just maintain about 40 degrees in your vessel so it doesn't freeze, which is really cool. And then comfort, that's what you're going to want for those hot showers. And you can crank that sucker all the way up from 120 degrees down to whatever you want. So if you like the kind of like hot showers that just, you know, burn your face off, basically, you can do that. You want to dull it down a little bit because maybe you're in a bunkhouse, you don't want the kids to accidentally burn themselves. You can control that too and make sure they don't accidentally get a little too hot in this thing. But that's another thing, talking about the shower that you get with the Flex package that you don't find in the normal Micro Minnie. Oh, Grant, I seem to have found you in a compromising situation.
So here we are. We're in the shower, and what we wanted to kind of focus in on here is the shower miser. And the only really portion of that you're going to see from the inside of the unit is just this little blue sleeve and this lever here. Everything else is actually behind the wall going down to the tank. And what the shower miser is a freshwater reclamation system. So in the off position or the perpendicular position for the switch, it is not going to allow water to come out my shower head. It's actually going to recirculate it down into my fresh tank, and it's going to get all the water in my fresh tank warm. And at that point, I can turn the water on and have instant hot water in my shower. So if I was maybe running my water heater on eco mode to save LP because I'm trying to maximize the efficiencies of the Flex, the shower miser is going to come in handy because I can still have an instant hot shower with the shower miser. I just have to wait for it to heat up. One thing you do need to be aware of is that all the water in your fresh tank will be warm at that point. So every sink you run, if you're just running off of your holding tank, not city water, all the water will be warm until it cools off after your shower. Additionally, you do not want to use a shower miser if you are connected to city water generally, because you can overfill your fresh tank. So that kind of goes both ways. I think it'd be kind of nice to be able to fill my fresh water or my holding tank from inside the unit and not have to have a hose stuck in my gravity fill if I'm watching the control panel and making sure to turn off the shower miser once it's full. But you can't overfill that if you're not paying attention. So it is just one thing to be aware of, I think.
And how cool is it that, you know, Grant as a Winnebago staff member is like pointing out, you know, hey, by the way, here's the cautionary things. Like, just like we like to give you Bishes, they want to make sure that you're getting the right package and you're getting, you know, the real world, both sides of the sets of information. The one question you might have still, though, is, okay, so it recirculates the water through my fresh tank and it heats the fresh tank water effectively. How do I know when my shower water is ready? And that's what this little blue pipe here is going to tell us. It's temperature sensitive. So you remember those like 1980s, 90s hypercolor shirts where you'd touch it and it'd leave a print of your hand on it or something like that? This will turn from blue to white once it gets warm, which is why if you go shopping for a Winnebago Flex sometime and you see one of these just parked out on like one of our dealership locations on a really hot day, it actually won't have a real solid blue. It'll be like a milky blue kind of color because the pipe's already been heated up a little bit. It's temperature sensitive. But when it goes stark white, basically, that's when you know it's shower time. That's right, Grant. Put on your fashion jacket.
So we touched a little bit on the control panel for the AQUAGO water heater on the inside, but there's a couple really, really cool things to point out here on the exterior of the water heater. So just opening this up compared to your traditional RV water heater, it looks a lot more quality. You got your power buttons here, your off in the middle, you got on, up, and down. One thing I really, really like about this water heater, you know, there's no anode rod or anything like that for it, but it has here a built-in water filter. Now, obviously, this is a large sediment water filter. This isn't going to make undrinkable water drinkable. This is going to help keep large particles from basically clogging up your water heater. But one unique thing TRUMA does is they actually have a decalcification mode you can run on this. So this could be a camper that you boondock with, right? It's ideal for that. It's got torsion axles on it. It sits up pretty high. It's got all the solar, but you're probably going to be using some hard water in it. And you have a very nice water heater. So they actually have a decalcification mode I could run inside on the control panel. TRUMA sells tablets. This holds about 6 tablets that go down the middle of here. You pop that in, get it closed up, and you run the decalcification mode and keep your water heater running like new, so you don't get gunked up with all the boondock water you're using while you're camping.
And by the way, did you notice how that water heater door actually has like little straps on it so it doesn't just fall off? I've seen a lot of people pull into our dealerships over the years with like just absolutely no water heater cover because a wind gust grabbed it or something, not to mention the way that latches. I don't think that's going to happen. So all this stuff is neat. Decalcification, dehumidification, Californication, I don't know. The real world question though, what can you really do with this? And like I said, this is, I really respect too, the Winnebago doesn't advertise this as like infinite off-grid boondocking. In theory, if you start really running math on this, let's say it's a day like today with just beautiful weather. We don't have cloud cover. You don't live in the Pacific Northwest where it's all clouds and trees and all that kind of stuff. Let's just say we have ideal conditions. If you are really, really sparing and careful with your power consumption, you could get maybe 5 days out of this thing. But at that point, your holding tanks are probably your limiting factor and least common denominator. But that's not the kind of camping that I really envision and take away from this when I look at the Flex package. Instead, the way that I look at this is I think of it as like the traveler's friend. And even the name Flex, it offers you flexible functions. And here's what I mean. So like on my own family camping trips, like we love to stop at a Cracker Barrel, and they got the RV parking, and that's great. But we also we're dog campers. We like to keep our dog with us, and you can't exactly take your dog into the Cracker Barrel unless you stuff it under your shirt, but once they start whining, people start figuring it out. That's a whole different story. We settled out of court on that. My point here is though, if you wanted to like put your dog or your dog crate in the camper and turn on the air conditioner to keep your dog from sweating to the oldies a little bit, that's something that you could do. Something that we haven't been real clear about so far too is the way that 3,000 watt inverter system works, because it's not just a power inverter, it's actually a whole house power management charging system. And what that system will do is it will put out off the battery, it'll pull off the battery what it needs to, when it needs to power things. Now normally for like a USB plug, that's straight 12 volt to 12 volt. For lights, it's straight 12 volt to 12 volt. But what about things like that air conditioner? That's really one of the big questions you have with a package like this. This is a fantastic, what I call mooch docking package, where let's say you want to go visit some grandkids or something like that out of town. Well, chances are if you go to visit a family member, they probably don't have a 30 amp power plug just hanging off the side of their house. But a common 15 amp household extension cord, if you take a dog bone connector and you lower the power of this, you're on your camper plug from a 30 to a 15 amp household plug from Camper Plug, basically, what it will do is it will use all the power coming in off that extension cord first, and it will only pull off the battery what it needs to. So with the solar package also still charging it, assuming you have some sun coverage and the 15 amp power coming in, you can have some really effective extended light tethered kind of camping on this. And if you do want to spend a couple days just away from people, it is perfectly capable of doing that too. But what this is not intended to be is the get off the grid and hide from the government in the desert indefinitely kind of package. It offers you the ability to change up your camping style and plans. If you want to be a little bit on grid today, you want to be off grid tomorrow, you want to go visit somebody the next day, you can do any and all of that automatically, and it's like turnkey simple. The system figures itself out. You don't have to go flipping switches and changing settings. You just go camping, man. So then the question, what models can you get this package on? Because something I don't know we've been super clear about so far today, we've really said, okay, so there's the Micro Minnie and then there's the Flex Edition. But you can also get Flex Editions on the Winnebago hike models. Now, currently the bigger 8-foot wide minis and the big extra large Winnebago Voyage trailers, they don't yet have any sort of capacity for the Flex package. And I guess I'd be kind of curious to hear from you folks. You know, are you interested in the idea of having the Flex package available on bigger, larger models? Or do you think it kind of is most appropriate and should remain down here in the small stuff? And there's no wrong answers. I just welcome whatever you're willing to share. And I hope you found today's video useful, beneficial, educational, maybe a little bit entertaintional. That's a nerdism now. Okay, we're gonna work with that. Anyway, if you liked what we brought you here today, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe if you're new with us, and let us know what you think about this package. Let us know if you know what you like about it, what you'd like to see changed or anything like that. And let's continue to garner that input and share it over to Winnebago here. And who knows, maybe it'll update, upgrade, and improve even further later on. If you'd like to see if we have any of these in stock and what they, like an actual full complete unit, what they might be running, I'll leave you some links down in the video description where you can check to see any of our Winnebago stores, what we have in stock, and what each individual model is running for you right there. Whether you're curious or whether you're serious, you're one click away, and remember, we don't do hidden dealer fees. So until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.